Alrighty then, greetings everyone, welcome to another Brony Debates. Instead of kicking off the weekend, this time we're closing it out for you guys. I hope you guys have all had a lovely weekend. And so a couple weeks ago, I'm sure we already know, the new My Little Pony movie came out. And now we're here to talk about it and see, if it actually holds up to the legacy of the best show of all time, Friendship is Magic. And there's my thoughts given away right there. But to join me, I jam-packed this panel for tonight with a bunch of my friends here. Going down the line, we got Cordero joining us tonight. How are you doing tonight?
Hey, what's up, guys? I feel great.
Good. You just got back from Oktoberfest, didn't you?
Yes, I am full of bread and beer, so I'm a bit fatter, but also jollier.
Good. Just, don't act belligerent and drunk on my stream, and we'll be all good. You got any highlights of the day from Oktoberfest today?
From yesterday, so I'm not going to be drunk on stream today. I'm going to be hungover on stream today.
Oh, okay.
Nursing a headache. But that makes me better at debating. The more head pain you have, the better at arguing you are.
Oh, geez, I disagree there. Well, all right, so we also got DJ joining us in what appears to be the blue corner on my thumbnail. How are you doing, DJ?
Bing bong, doing good.
Oh, do not do that on my stream.
Bing bong.
Oh, God.
Hey, that's cultural appropriation.
Yeah, you're not a unicorn. You can't say bing bong. That's our word. Oh wait, Frank.
You don't know
not a unicorn either.
You don't know my parentage. You know nothing of mixed races.
Oh, it's the freaking Josh Scorcher stream all over again with Peter New. We also got InvisiBrony, who is become visible for tonight. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. Hoping my heartburn is only that.
Mm-hmm. Well, if it was something else, you wouldn't have had the chance to tell us about it.
Oh, we'll see.
Mm-hmm. We got Neo Anton joining us tonight. How are you doing, Neo?
Doing good.
Good. And we got joining us Will Eisen. Is this your first time joining Brony Debates? I think it is.
Yes, it is the first time you have me on one of your debates.
Yeah, and you're relatively new to the Patreon, so welcome. I hope you enjoy being on the show tonight. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, lovely. Glad I could join you guys. And hey, as for everything else, it's been going great. It's been going real great.
Very good. Now, I do see some new names out in the chat, so let me break this down for you guys. We're going to talk about the movie for a little while here, maybe about 30 to 45 minutes-ish. We're going to try to aim for that sort of time frame, and then we're going to go into what's called the audience participation segment, where I'm going to be reading the chat throughout the night and taking down any interesting comments or questions that you have throughout the whole night. And when we get to the audience participation segment, that's when we
throw them out.
Yeah, that's when we throw them out. Yeah, but not in the way that you're implying.
Not like that.
Right. So then we read them off for you. So I highly encourage you.
We edit them to make you sound dumb.
I highly encourage you in the chat to participate in the discussion. If you have any questions for anybody on the panel or for me, or you can talk with each other. And yeah, we'll join you at the end of the stream. So let me get us started off here. The Next Generation movie. Subjectively, I enjoyed watching it. I had a lot of fun hosting a big watch party where we had a bunch of my Brony friends, a bunch of folks I haven't seen in a long time come over. And it had some funny moments. It definitely had good comedic timing. But objectively, I don't think it was a very good movie. I feel like the tone was way more juvenile compared to Friendship is Magic. I am not fond of the animation style. The voice acting sounded more like caricatures than actual people. And I definitely didn't like the music. The music was just way too modern for my taste. So with that said, I will now open up the floor. Basically, if you look at the thumbnail here, I've split this down into the red corner and the blue corner, and the blue corner is going to go defend the movie and try to convince me and the red corner that it's good. So let me open up the floor. What do you guys think about what I just said?
Listen to Red Letter Media over here. Just it was different, and I don't like things that are different. Yeah.
All right.
Basically, everything that you listed as problems with the movie were like your rationale is it's different than Gen 4, and things that are different from Gen 4 are not good because I don't like things that are different. So thanks, Plinkett.
No, not quite. That's rather like that's bordering on ad hominem. Listen,
simplistic and insulting. Have you not had me on the show before?
Gen 4 was good. So if we deviate too far from what made Gen 4 good,
bad.
Everything
Gen 4 good. Everything
I'm not helping
Gen
my
4
case.
Bad.
Okay, why don't you explain yourself?
Gen 4, so those things are bad.
Well, hey, okay. You know what? He may have a point. Brony's points are entirely a bit more on the superfluous color dressing and anecdotes of the movie itself.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to actually say why I hate it, I'd have to say it has to do more so with half the cast was underutilized. The story was written. It felt like it was a TV show written into being a movie, and there were a lot of plot threads that were introduced but left hanging.
It's more like a long pilot than a movie.
Yeah. It feels like a long pilot than an actual movie. Movies and television shows are drastically different in how they're written. Like, the MLP movie we got back in 2017 is its own self-contained thing. It has a beginning, middle, and end. Yes, it does help knowing the characters from the television series, but you can usually get a gist of the entire movie. It feels like a story, self-contained, being told. With this one, it feels like...
if you haven't seen G4, you're going to be so lost.
Well, if you, I mean, it builds a lot off of G4, but also, I mean, heck, one major complaint I had right off the beginning: half the characters are underutilized. Pip, what do we know about her? She's the influencer. That's it. And Hitch, basically doesn't really do anything useful throughout the entire movie. He just follows and.
He's that bloodhound in the Looney Tunes cartoons that just sniffs the footprint trail along, and you just go back to him every once in a while.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's my complaint with it. That's where I see the problem is characters are underutilized. The story feels bare bones. Oh, and let's not forget, basically in the ending, it's basically Alicorn Ex Machina.
Yes. Being on the pro side of this, I can also, I'm not saying it's a perfect film. Definitely not. It's got issues, like you're saying. Characters were just sort of sitting there like props some of the time. But I mean, overall, like you were saying, G4 good, nothing G4 bad. Yeah, you're right, Brony. If you do stray far away from the formula, obviously you're going to lose, your core audience. You might pick up new people, but you're definitely, going to alienate some of that audience. But did it go so far away from it that it's that bad? I don't think it did. It's not as good, yeah, but it's also, like you said, it's different. I'm not used to it yet. I haven't had a chance to become invested. That's the big thing, is investment. We have no investment in it yet.
All right. Does anybody want to add to what Invisi just said?
Yeah. Well, maybe I can wait for the next question, but because I'm hearing a lot of wrong things said. I think I've heard one thing. From the am I blue or red corner? I don't even know. I'm on the good guys. What did
You're blue corner.
I'm blue. Okay,
we're supporting the movie.
Yeah, blue corner. So like I'm hearing a lot of wrong things. I think the only thing that I'd be willing to concede at this point, is that some characters were underutilized, and I think that was a strength of the movie. That some characters were underutilized because they wanted to give the movie a focus, and they wanted it to be Sonny's journey. And also, they wanted to leave space for there to actually be a show, because the idea is it's going to be a show. So the characters were introduced, but left room for them to grow in the show, rather than trying to give everybody something to do in the movie and making the movie too all over the place. So the only point I concede, I think, proves Blue Side's point that the movie was good. Because if you try to make all 6 characters have something interesting to do, that's really difficult to do in the movie. The My Little Pony 2017 movie was brought up. That movie failed to give everybody something to do. Applejack and was it Applejack and Fluttershy? We're definitely Applejack. We're basically like
Applejack, Fluttershy, and Rarity were all heavily underutilized in the 2017 movie.
At least Rarity did something.
Yeah, the G4 movie. The G4 movie was mostly a really long episode between Twilight and Pinkie Pie.
Pretty much. So I am actually not going to compare this movie to the 2017 movie, and you can pick things apart. But the apt comparison that I'm going to do tonight, and I can wait for the next question, is between this movie and the season 1 opener, because that's our introduction to both generations. Is the season 1 opener and this movie taking place. It's funny that somebody called it a really long pilot, because that really is sort of what it is. So I'm going to compare it to the season 1 opener, and in this thesis tonight, I will show how the Gen 4 season 1 opener was absolute trash, and that this movie completely kicks the shit out of the Gen 4 season 1 opener, and we should think nothing but excited of what's coming next.
Yeah.
Oh, alrighty then.
So fair warning on that, though,
Strong
man. You are
words.
comparing 2D to 3D, and the show that this is going to follow will be 2D again. So we can't do anything on artistic merits.
Have they confirmed that?
I was even gonna compare the art styles. That's like whatever to me.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna
talking
say
about, like,
off the
enjoying
art
the
styles either, because art style. There's a lot of people that do like the art style, so the art style is totally subjective. But personally, I prefer 2D. So if it is going to be 2D,
That is
I guess I'm glad.
Being definitive about that.
I will say this: some of the models just did look kind of weird in 3D. But let me hear a little bit more from the red corner here, from somebody else on my side. That didn't think the movie was all that great, and then we'll see if we can get a rebuttal from you guys. So, Neo, I haven't heard from you yet. What do you got for me?
So for the comparison thing, I think the Gen 4, the season 1 opening was way better than the movie, or how people were talking about it, because you complain about how people in the Gen 5 movie didn't do that much, but then when you look at the pilot episode, the first 2 episodes, that everybody in the main 6 has them to do, and give you a small taste of what their personality is and what they like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you're saying that that Friendship is Magic, from Friendship is Magic, the first 2 episodes did a better job at showcasing all of the characters and their roles better than A New Generation?
Yeah.
Okay, I would agree with that. And I think that that's actually really important to do if you're going to be writing a movie, or a pilot or anything, is to give all of your characters something to do, a purpose for being there, because otherwise you're just padding the script. So with that being said, what do we think what does the blue corner have to say?
I personally think the characters were used just as much as they needed to be.
How
Sure.
so?
I will grant Pip didn't have a whole lot, but she was the catalyst for throwing the Pegasi into conundrum, as well as she's the one that rescued their blunder. Hitch is, while Sunny and Izzy have a great friendship, Sunny and Hitch are childhood friends, and Hitch is the person she depends on the most. So I don't agree that they were underutilized. They were utilized just as much as they needed to be, just like in the season 1 premiere of Gen 4, where while we got to know a little bit about each pony, we didn't get to know that much more. We got to know what element of harmony they were. That's it.
Well, we also got to learn that Ajax is a sadist. Holding Twilight off a cliff and going, just trust me, Twilight, drop. Just drop. Just tell her. Like, they'll catch you. They're there. Like Rainbow Dash Fluttershy right there. They'll catch you. Like, just what? Why would you not just say that?
And to be fair, I did thought that was...
dumb. Hey, there's a ledge. Hey, there's a thing underneath you that's going to catch you. Yeah. Is that so hard to say? Rather than, I'm going to let you go. Oh, you think you're going to die? What are you? You're hanging off the side of a cliff, you idiot.
Now is not the time for
just trust me.
Now is not the time for a trust fall.
Yeah, the literal world is at stake. Okay, so well, let me see what else was there. I definitely did not enjoy the music as much. I felt like it was too poppy and too generic. Now, I didn't really like the music a whole lot from Friendship is Magic either. We were 3 seasons in before we had a song that I really liked. So that's probably just me. But Neo, Will, tell me, how did you guys think of the music in this movie?
The music definitely was a lot more, as you say, poppy. Except for, I'd have to say, the villain song, Angry Angry, actually kind of brings me a lot more like grunge.
Well, it's
In fact,
actually literally a copy of 2 songs. It's Bad Romance and Offspring Self-Esteem.
Yeah, I was about to say Offspring, an Offspring in there. Yeah, it's the guitar riffs definitely.
Well, you know what they
It's a
say.
blatant ripoff.
You know what they say. If you can't do it right yourself, copy someone who did it better.
Yep.
Yeah, but
Yep.
the thing with these songs though is that I guess when Daniel Ingram did a lot of the writing for the songs for G4, they felt like
Fantasy songs.
Yeah, they felt like fantasy musical like songs, not straight up Broadway musical. You know, there's different levels to them. This felt more like
Schmigadoon.
I don't know. I have to say that the New Generation movie kind of felt like, hey, what's currently on the top 10 billboards? Okay, we'll use that.
Yeah, and
Yes, because Offspring is currently on the top 10 billboards. and Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga and Offspring are definitely top 40 right now.
And Cordero, did you happen to notice that was the song that everybody liked the best?
Yep.
So
Yeah.
Another tally for showing why the
there.
90s was awesome.
I'm gonna have to disagree there because I'm on the side that the villain song was the worst one in the movie.
I liked the
it was way too enjoyable.
the unicorn one.
That's not even it. It just wasn't a good song.
the glow up song fit right in.
Yeah.
Whatever.
With the exception of the rap section, which wasn't terrible, but it's definitely kid cringe. You know, it's they put it in there for the.
I wanted to slam my head in the door because it would have been less painful.
The rest of the song was good though.
Oh no! Wait
the
a second.
Rap section was competent. It was a good rap section.
Let me rephrase that because I don't feel things in my head. I would have rather slammed my fingertips in a door. That would have been less painful. So.
I'd say the problem with Fit Right In was that it felt like a TikTok video.
And it was probably heavily inspired by that. Now, here's the point about the music that I want to make because I finally could.
Are you saying it didn't fit right in?
Yes. Now, so what I'm trying to say here is if you compare the music from Friendship is Magic to A New Generation, throughout the entirety of the series from beginning to end, each song the composition of each song asked the questions, what situation are we in and who's singing? And that would direct each song. And when you would have these big melodies of all 6 or some or more characters singing with each other, then Daniel Ingram was really good at like blending all of those styles and making them sound like
thing.
Like cohesive, even though you're switching at the drop of a hat between Pinkie Pie's pop and Rarity's harpsichords and harps and Applejack's banjo, and all this and Rainbow Dash's guitars and all this stuff and Twilight's strings and
it matches the tone.
Yeah, and it is so, and then depending on the situation they were in, if it was a sad situation or it would get sad, if they were moving up, if they were, the tone always followed the tone of the episode. It was very competently put together music. Every single song, with the exception of maybe the Angry Mob song in A New Generation, was just the 3 chords of pop and the same exact thing over and over again.
There was nothing that's like I'm not singing any of the songs from the movie. I don't go around humming any of the songs. Mm-hmm. That's for sure. Like they're not bad, but I'm not like, yeah, I'm gonna be listening to that, on repeat tomorrow for 8 hours. No, that's not happening.
This is how a unicorn walks.
Except for maybe that.
Unicorn talk. That's good. Angry.
Okay.
Gonna be my day. Gonna be my day. They're pretty good earworms.
Cordero's
I'm totally
been
fine with the music.
Cordero's been blasting all weekend at Oktoberfest. What were you trying to say, DJ?
I was gonna say the songs were great except for the villain one and maybe Glow Up. I wasn't the biggest fan of that one, but I like the other ones and they fit right with the characters and the situations.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Especially Fit Right In. That's perfect for Izzy. Because Izzy's all over the place, and so is that song.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like 3 or 4 different genres of music in one song.
Mm. So, Invisi, I haven't heard much from you yet. Pick something you really liked about the movie that I can tell you was really bad about the movie, and you're wrong.
The end.
No.
I mean, literally, where it says the end. You liked that, didn't you? You have to admit you liked that part.
I
win.
liked the fact that the pain was over. I don't know. No, I was
Yeah.
I was
No,
more
Well, I did not like the fact that it ended because I didn't have anything else to express my anger at.
oh jeez.
There's a mirror to your left.
Oh, we're just being savage out here tonight. Okay, but
my.
all right.
No,
so-
seriously.
Yeah, give me something to work with here.
I did like the character introductions. My favorite part actually was the introduction of Izzy when she came into town, and just the sheer that really set the tone for the movie. There was the sheer panic, like they had pumped it up, being like, yeah, evil unicorns, but when they actually show up, you'd think, is it going to be cautious, like, oh look, it's a unicorn, everyone's going to whisper and back away silly. No, just absolute sheer terrified panic everywhere. And I also love that they had the traps all over town, just catching all the dudes. And especially, I already forgot his name. What's Dictator Pony again? Sprout, yes, of course.
Ken Jeong.
I love when he's just like, oh no, I got trapped. Just sidesteps into a box.
Yeah, everybody was so afraid of the unicorn that they just started booking it, and then Hitch goes, deputy, you got to help me capture the unicorn. You just nope.
Yeah. Like, really? I was like, not again or something like that.
Well, Sprout was showing at an early age. He had the perfect makings for a politician.
And
also, to do anything.
I would also like to make sure we classify him properly. He is not a villain. He is a menace, yes. He is an idiot, yes. He is an anti-hero at best, and it's not much of a hero at that. He's just an anti, really. It's like he's an annoyance rather than a villain.
Yeah, there's no villains in this story.
The villain was racism.
The villain was our mistrust. Yeah.
I wouldn't
We were all the
say
villain.
I wouldn't even say the villain was racism. I would have said it was ignorance. But now I know those two go hand in hand a lot, but racism takes a lot more practice to overcome. Usually people who grow up racist spend a lot of time in diverse environments or knowing people that they would otherwise be prejudiced to before they sort of let go of those prejudices. And even then, half the time they're like, oh, I hate X, demographic of people, but you're cool.
Wait. So you're saying I don't have to hate black people? Oh, good, thanks. Whew, that was a lot of work,
Yeah. So,
Me too.
but
racism.
Yeah, go ahead.
Racism usually comes from a lack of information and exposure to the people that you're being racist against. So the idea that it was obviously it's a movie, so they're gonna make it faster. That coming together, but you got to remember these ponies had never seen each other, so they just assumed that the other camps were just monsters. So if you meet people that you think are just absolute monsters and find out that they're just regular people that they're just regular people like you, it does make sense that they would get over it pretty fast just because of how exaggerated the racism was and how isolated they were before.
Yeah.
Which is a great allegory for Twitter. Listen, people, the world isn't like Twitter. Get off it and go meet people. You realize everyone is not as evil as you make them out to be.
Or at least they don't act like they are.
Right.
No, I'm also going to regret this probably because, like I said, I'm on the pro side, but I'm going to give you some fodder for one thing I didn't like about the movie. And it's just a question. And the question is, where are the Wendigos?
Yeah, that's literally what I was about to say, because I was watching the movie
Because
and
all
they talk
magic
about
is
how
dead and they're made of magic.
so we need
They probably restored them. But now that they're friends, they're gone.
the Discord wasn't heated enough. It was a passive hatred. The Wendigos came out when there was like active disputes and arguing going on. But I guess since they segregated themselves, and it was pretty much just people avoiding each other, it made it so that the Wendigos had nothing to feed on because they need the disharmony to feed on, and they just sort of that's my theory I'm going with. If there was warfare, there would have been Wendigos.
Yeah, I'm going to make a prediction too that's going to be the plot line of the show is figuring out like obviously what happened between then and now.
Can I just, for that whole point, is like the segregation to begin with. If we keep this as a continuation of G4, the amount of work it would have to go forward into having that segregation, because let's remember, intermixing of the races was constant, so
Yeah.
much so that with Mr. and Mrs. Cake, oh, my distant relatives are the reason that we now, two Earth ponies, have a Pegasus and a unicorn foal. At least if we're assuming there was no infidelity going on. But the point is, how many generations would have had to have happened for them to literally eugenicize the whole thing into purity?
That's why I think that it's hundreds of years. Like some people are like, "Oh, this is probably just their kids or grandkids or something."
No,
like that.
it's got to be a long time.
I think it's got to be hundreds and hundreds of years later.
And if we're gonna headcanon that far deep, then the best functional explanation I could think of would be something to the akin of. Have you ever seen what happens to an ecosystem when there's too many white-tailed deers with no predators, and they just eat everything, and they'll turn a forest into a desert in a matter of like 3 or 4 generations.
And they die.
Yeah, and then they die. So if what we're saying is true, again, total headcanon speculation here, but there would have had to been some sort of interspecies warfare breakout, Wendigos, nobody can fix it, darn near mass pony extinction, thus causing the death of the Wendigos with nothing to feed on, and the death of magic altogether, and then slow repopulation after that. So we're dealing like thousands of years into the...
Well, we do only have 3 cities that we know of.
I know what happened.
Are you going to write that one?
I know what happened.
Tell me.
Brony, you writing that pic? You should write it.
Cozy Glow escaped from her statue, and so angry, she actually wrangled the Wendigos as her personal army and lay waste to Equestria.
If anyone could, it would be her.
Yeah.
Early Temple has never been more scary.
If that comes true, I get a prize, because that's an insane theory.
So, Cordero, let me ask you this. How the heck is Sprout not a villain? Because he tried to go on the assault with a freaking Gundam.
He's misguided.
Well, that wasn't my point that he's not a villain. Like that seems pretty not nitpicky. What's the word I'm looking for? That seems minutia. That seems like some serious minutia. Like I would call him a villain. Like he was, especially by the late part of the movie, he was clearly.
Yeah, somebody
said
that
he didn't count as a villain. I think he counts as a villain. He was a really pathetic villain, but I think that was sort of the point. He wasn't supposed to be like a strong opposing force, because the real villain or antagonist, as we've said, we've joked about, but it's really true. The real antagonist was racism. And also, as far as the problem being solved, at the end of the movie, somebody at the very beginning, there's 6 of us, it's hard to keep track. As somebody at the very beginning said that it was Alicorn ex Machina, it absolutely was not. That was the whole point of the finishing arc of the movie, was that Alicorn Magic and Machina couldn't solve the problems. They kept trying to use Alicorn and gem base and whatever magic of friendship to solve their problems, and the end of the movie showed no, all of that shit is inert. It doesn't work because you're not friends. You have to solve your problems between yourselves, and then the magic will return. So they literally solved the problem of the movie, and then the Alicorn ascension for Sunny was a reward for being the main catalyst for helping to solve the problem. So that absolutely was not Alicorn ex Machina.
And they foreshadowed that hard.
They foreshadowed hard, and that was the payoff for actually solving the problem of the movie.
Yeah, I knew in the first 5 minutes that she was going to become an Alicorn. Like, it was really obvious.
The main thing that kept bothering me as I watched the whole movie is, do they know Alicorn exists, or does Alicorn just became lost, like forgotten?
Well, Sunny's Twilight Sparkle figure was an Alicorn.
Yes, I know that, but it seemed like
I don't think they ever even named what Twilight was. I think it was just Sprout called her a unicorn.
I think they characterized her as a Well, no. She was by herself the whole time, because when they say unicorn, they only saw rarity. But during the whole entire movie, all I kept thinking about, these 3 races have been separate. All of them act like they despise each other, but they're like, wait, do they know that Alicorn, that is a combination of all 3, exists? Because of how they keep acting about each one being split off constantly.
Yeah, the movie didn't really cover that. I guess they just didn't care, or wasn't important to them.
I mean, at the end of the day, it really wasn't important.
They're
Because
just like, oh,
Earth ponies were afraid of unicorns and Pegasi because they thought they had the power to like hurt them or take something away from them. Alicorns, even if they thought alicorns theoretically existed, there's no alicorns anywhere nearby to threaten them, so they don't care because it's not part of their reality or their immediate area.
I'd like to hear a little bit from Will. Will, can you pick out something about the movie that you didn't think measured up that we can try to defend her?
Well, I can actually say right there at the end. Okay, I was the one who made the Alicorn Ex Machina stipulation, and I meant that more just like a Deus Ex Machina. I was just using Alicorn because instead of God, Deus.
Well, yeah, that's all.
That's
meant. What that means.
I meant in the sense of the ending. The entire ending conflict was completely pointless. Two of the characters, Hitch and Pip, what they were doing with the machine ended up amounting to nothing. The whole Izzy, Sunny, and Zip trying to do the gems at the top also amounted to nothing. It was a whole basically a waste of our time, and then at the end it's just like, oh, your house got destroyed, we feel sad for you, let's okay, we'll just not be so much jerks, and that solves everything. It's like it would have been better instead for these characters to actually work together to solve a problem, and then their magic doesn't work, and then it's like, oh, well, the magic didn't come back now. It's like, you know what, we can still be friends without magic. And that is what brings it back. That would have been way much better, because instead you just have it where it's just given. The ending is just, the reward is given without any actual effort towards it.
I have to entirely
how is that
disagree
any
with
different
that.
than what happened?
DJ, what are you trying to say?
That is entirely... you're completely missing the point, honestly.
How so?
The whole thing with the gems, the whole point of it was that it was pointless. Like, I think it was it Invisi who just did the whole spiel about how the gems really weren't the prize? The whole thing was to show that there is no instant fix. That these gems were not the solution. The solution was that they had to realize they were wrong and to come together. And they come together because of Sunny. Sunny shows them what they can do together. All the passion she had convinced them that maybe we can try something else. And that's what brought the magic back.
Eventually it got to that point. Eventually it got to that point, yes, but the problem is there's still the interim of how it gets to it. They still were upset entirely about losing the magic and not getting it back. It was a whole still focused on the original goal rather than focusing on what was important, which was just the friendship and the togetherness. With the other two leaders, Alphabettle and the Queen and whatnot, it was just more so, they didn't have anything towards them whatsoever. It was just a pity. For their pity for what was going on with Sunny and her situation of like, yeah, we could try this. We could try this, I guess. It was apathetical, almost, in a sense.
No, everybody failed together. Like the unicorn DDR guy, the Queen,
that's Alphabettle,
Sunny, Alphabettle, all of the pony friends. Everybody failed together. Like they all had this idea that the magic was locked inside gems, and if you bring the gems together, it'll bring the magic back, and that will solve our problems. And so they went out to find that solution, which is what you said they needed to do. They needed to try to solve some problem together. That's actually what happened in the movie. They went to try to solve this problem together, realized that it was futile, that they had everything backwards, that they needed to become friends first, and then their problems would be solved. And that's what the point of the gems on the tower and the tower collapsing and the giant robot, all of that was futile. Sprout making a giant robot to attack them, all futile. The tower, futile. The gems, futile. None of it mattered. And you had to look within. All of the gems was a red herring, which is actually really sophisticated storytelling for this children's movie that had a more kids movie tone than MOP Gen 4 did. They really trick you with this red herring. And then they go, oh no, the the solution was in us the whole time. We just have to work together. And based on the circumstances that brought them together, which is the collective failure, they were all humbled to a point where they're like, yeah, we should start over, and we should like rebuild society united. And then boom, you've become friends. Alicorn payoff, and it just worked. It worked really well. It took you one direction, thinking, "Oh, they got to get the gyms together." Just kidding. The gyms don't matter. It was the friendship that mattered, and I liked that.
Well, I'm gonna concede that point. I don't really have anything to say in rebuttal to that. I remember watching the movie and thinking, if that's what they're going for, they didn't convey it very well. On a little bit more of a superficial note, because we already talked a lot about the story and the we talked a little bit about the animation, we talked a little bit about the music, but another thing that got me about the movie was the voice acting. And I didn't feel like they were trying, or they were trying too hard, is what I should say, and it ended up sounding not like real people, but more like caricatures, like exaggerations of characters that they were trying to play. I didn't feel like the characters were as genuine in the portrayal through the voice acting. Did anybody else feel that, or is that just me?
How long has it been since you watched the season 1 opener?
A couple of months.
Boy.
Because Twilight Sparkle in the season 1 opener sounds like somebody's mom trying to read a storybook to you and do the voices really terribly. Like it's a rough, and this was the point I wanted to bring up before. The start for Gen 1, obviously Gen 1. For Gen 4, obviously it had potential. It drew in a lot of people, but it was compared to the rest of the series, it was a rough start. Twilight Sparkle is pretty wooden the whole time, but that ends up being okay because she's just sort of an avatar for the audience to learn about the new world, and the other 5 characters really carry the opening more than Twilight does.
Can I just say about Twilight's
much...
voice? Twilight's early voice. Yeah, Tara Strong can totally be my mom reading me a story. That's a great idea. I'm taking that.
I mean, just remember back to Applejack's voice.
My name is Twilight
Applejack
Sparkle.
definitely had the most stark voice change throughout the show, but you were saying, Cordero?
Yeah, oh gosh, where was I? The
voices were in an early stage.
Yeah, so like the Gen 4 start was pretty rough. Especially with the voice acting, I think. And this is why I like comparing these two things together, is because I think the start for Gen 5 is higher than the start for Gen 4. I think the Gen 4 got its legs off the ground from the middle of season 1, when you had things like Art of the Dress, Apple Bucking Season, Fall Weather Friends. You get these episodes that come out that really humanize, to use a poor term, these characters. They really ponify these characters and make them relatable throughout the series. Because if you recall, for like the whole decade of My Little Pony, when it was like, oh, we need to introduce new people to the show, what do we show them? And what was always the awkward thing? Oh crap, do we start at the beginning? Oh, but the beginning's not very, remember that whole crap? Where do we start new people on the show? Because the beginning sucked. The first arc sucked, and we were embarrassed to show new people the show based on the season 1 opener. Because like, oh, there's so much better ones. I don't know, do the season 4 episode, or do Discord. Just show them Discord instead. And so it's like, I feel like we have a better starting point for Gen 5. So if 5 years from now, the Brony fandom is basically a Gen 5 fandom, and Gen 5 takes over, Gen 5 supremacy forever. If that happens, I feel like Gen 5 will be able to say, oh, you want to check out the new ponies? Just watch the movie, bro. Movie's great.
Gen 6 is going to suck. Gen 6 is going to suck.
Well, then 2037 will be horrible when Gen 6 sucks. But for now, in 2022 through 2029 or whatever, the Gen 5 fandom will be able to go, yeah, man, here's a movie. Here's an hour and 10-minute movie that's fantastic and a great way to dip your toes into this. Whereas for us in Gen 4, we're like, oh, watch something else. Don't watch the opener.
Well, for Gen 4, it depends on you gotta know your audience because it depends on who you're showing it to. Like when I showed it to one of my best friends there, I knew he was an action guy, so I had to show him Canterlot Wedding, right? But if I know somebody's more geared towards story like I am, they're gonna want to start at the beginning. And there's certainly nothing wrong with Friendship is Magic, in my opinion. That it did a really good job of conveying the characters and conveying the tone and the theme and showing what the lesson was really supposed to be about and what the whole show was going to be about going forward.
Except it doesn't.
And if you
The Gen 5
and if you want to if you got somebody who needs to just see character and comedy and things like that, then there's a lot of people who started new bronies off on A Friend Indeed, or one of the more or if they're
Slice of Life.
Yeah, Slice of Life is another really good one to start people on. If you're gonna go that far deep.
If I may interrupt you, Brony, I have to disagree with you that the season 1 opener for Gen 4 gives us what the show is about, because it doesn't. The show gives the premiere episode gives us an adventure, basically fighting off a dark evil, and that's not the show. The show has those in finales and maybe some premieres, but majority it's slice of life.
Okay.
And that's not in season 1's premiere.
Okay, well, I guess I can give that to you, but it definitely laid the foundation for the theme, because every episode after that, almost every episode after that, for the whole 220 episodes, it was either it would just build on and lead back to the idea that friendship is magic, and that when you
Believe.
not believe, but when you demonstrate these 5 virtues, you create, you get the spark of friendship, and you get a lot of power out of that to do things that you otherwise could not do on your own. So
the Gen 5. Oh, sorry, I thought you.
No. Go ahead.
The Gen 5, very, very beginning of the movie, it simultaneously paid respect to Gen 4 while also lampooning it at the same time, where they're all like, harmony, loyalty, honesty, guys, friendship is magic. That's basically the first parter in 14 seconds. That was the whole first parter. And when you think that this is the equivalent of that first parter for Gen 5, they basically were like, hey, remember this, how Gen 4 started? That was a pretty lame start, and I realize I'm reading a lot into it, but it's kind of funny when you look at it that way. They're sort of lampooning how corny the Gen 4 start was, and Gen 5, and then going with Rarity, going, I will melt your brains, which is the funniest part of any generation of My Little Pony, is Rarity's eyes glowing and declaring that she's going to melt my brains.
And if we're completely honest, that is exactly how little kids would act when playing with toys.
Oh yeah,
exactly. So that was realistic too. And so it basically Gen 5 says, yeah, we're gonna have more of a grounded story than Gen 4 started off with, and I love it. That's a strength for me.
Well, Gen 4 took a lot of inspiration in its lore from high fantasy, and Gen 5 was a lot more modernized in its aesthetic and presentation. So real quick, because I haven't heard from it yet, I haven't heard from DJ and Will yet, and then I wanted to ask one more question. But DJ, one thing you liked about the movie that we can tell you you're wrong about.
I actually like the modernization.
Really? Why is that?
I thought I was gonna hate it, but I like how all 3 cities are a different form of modernization. Honestly, I believe this is kind of gonna be an Avatar to Korra thing, where we had the high fantasy and then it switches into a city for most of the series. But I think G5 is gonna switch it up, because you have Maritime Bay, which is like a classic mid 1900s to mid to late 1900s maritime town, like out of Murder, She Wrote. And then you have Zephyr Heights, which is your big New York type style city in the sky. And then you have Bridalwood, which is much more of a close-knit rural town.
It's Ewok Village.
Kind of, but it's clear they're not cut off. They just choose to live the way they do.
Yeah, they're not Amish.
Yeah, they're not Amish ponies like Pinky's parents. Yeah. But I like that it gives you 3 different versions of the modern world, and I think that's going to give a lot to explore, especially since we see that there's plenty of space between the towns. So I'm also curious if there are more towns and to see what else is out there, which I think a good thing for the movie is to see more of what's to come.
Yeah, because if those are the only 3 towns, then the population has been devastated.
What happened to all the other species? What happened to the zebras?
Yeah.
Across the sea.
Well, considering there was racism, probably race war.
Yeah, they weren't quite ready to tackle that one just yet.
Yeah.
So what does the Red Corner think about that? How the modernization works for the show?
I would say I'm going to go into the negative on this one, as I'm always supposed to be on the negative. The modernization, I think, is going to do more harm than good. I understand it's the production leads and the writers trying to appeal to kids these days, especially with Pip, with the whole the influencer pony as she is. And I think it's going to be damaging because, quite frankly, that whole thing in society is heavily damaging as a whole. But that's going into a much deeper conversation than just this little show. But also the modernization is going to drastically change how they're going to have to write the story. Whereas the characters, you introduce new technology. A problem that could be solved with technology will end up destroying a lot of conflict where it does not exist. Characters not being able to communicate with each other. Oh wait, we all got cell phones. It's like
we have to warn them. Beep.
Yeah, or characters who are ignorant about something else. It's like, oh, let me look it up on Wiki Pony Book
on
or
Hoofle.
whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, Hoofle.
I reject this entire line of argument in the fact that science fiction exists. Like, you can find a million problems that people need to solve with future technology and better. The fact that the show Star Trek can have people have communication issues and time-sensitive stuff going on. It's fucking Star Trek. There's a whole alpha quadrant of amazing communication technology. And good writing will find a way for there to be communication issues and misunderstandings and things that have to be worked out. Like, there's no way that because that there's some updated technology that's going to become a block on writing good stories.
Okay. I will give you that. I will give you that because if there is a My Little Pony Gen 5 version of Darmok, I will love the heck out of it. Darmok Unknown Tagala.
Yeah. that would be really fun.
When the walls fell.
Twilight and Rarity at the castle.
When the walls fell.
Yeah.
Okay, Will, I haven't heard from you much yet. Tell me something that detracted from the movie for you.
Okay, well, talked about the ending, talked about the badness of the tech, and my god. I'd have to say, okay, geez, no, that's more nitpicking. Well, I guess it is a good point. I felt like the ending glossed over a bit of, like, Sprout and also Sprout's mother's issues. Like, Hitch was the one who had the most evolution. And it's like, oh yeah, well, I realize, these races I've been brought up to believe I should be afraid of aren't so bad. But Sprout's actions were completely glossed over in the end of, Mommy, was I a good sheriff? We'll talk about it later, sweetie. It's just like, no, these two, both Sprout and his mother should be in orange jumpsuits, picking up trash and rebuilding Sunny's home.
Have you seen, there's a Patreon comic about that. Have you seen it?
No, I don't have
it. It's him in jail, Sprout in jail, with Hitch reading, like, the list of charges off a sheet of paper, and he goes, and being a massive idiot. He's like, since when is that a crime? He's like, since today.
Yeah, but like I said, that is a bit more of a nitpick. I guess also with the ending, the other characters, like we as someone said earlier in this is mostly Sunny's story, and she is the protagonist. She is the one we're following throughout this entire journey. The rest of the characters are side characters, but I'd still like to know what's going on with the other characters in this now. Is he going to go back to the Hollow, the woods that I'm forgetting the name of the unicorn town? Are Pip and Zip going to go back to Zephyr Heights? Are they going to try meeting up a lot? Because as it was shown, it took them like a day or two to travel between towns at least. So it's like, what's going to happen? How are they going to meet up? Are they just going to be wandering between places? Are they going to go try looking for new things? It's like, it sets up the end of its story, yes, but it does not set up the whole series that it's trying to build to. It doesn't give us anything to look forward to of like, hey, there's going to be a series of this. There's something our characters are going to be working towards. There's no hints. It's just, it ends. Which I guess is good, because the way Netflix is going and Hasbro is currently going, who knows, they might cancel this out of the blue.
Well, see, the reason for that is all the hints weren't at the end. They were in the 2 hours before that part.
Oh, no.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, what did you want them to do? Did you want them to turn to the camera and be like, and tune in next time when we...
Same pony channel, same pony time.
Right.
Yes, I want a Batman... I want an anime-style ending to the whole thing where it basically gives a whole... No. What I would expect is just a little blurb of the characters of, hey, there's like... Okay, at the end of one of the G4 episodes where it involved them basically getting the chest that eventually lead to the whole Keys plot line that ran throughout an entire season. That was a setup, in a sense, for a whole season to continue. I would expect a setup of some kind at the end of this movie, and that's just one part of Sprout not being Sprout and his mom not being punished. There's no setup. It just feels like a movie ending and not a setup for a television series.
I thought there were lots and lots of points in there as to what the series is going to be about. Like I said, what happened to the Wendigos? Why weren't they around? How did the segregation
what are
come
Wendigos?
about?
What are Wendigos? If this is a person coming fresh into it, what are Wendigos?
But let's be fair, most of the people watching this aren't just coming in.
Oh,
I know there's a lot of people who are, but it's still a question that needs to be asked.
So let's... I think that's a good spot to put a pin in it for now, and let's see if we can get into some audience participation here. So, like I said at the beginning of the stream, I've been watching you guys in the chat and taking down some of your interesting comments and questions. I hope that my co-hosts have been doing the same. If not, no big deal. We got plenty to write here, to go through here. You guys have been pretty active. So, Tudabug says... I felt like Sprout was a pretty tagged-on villain. What do we think about that, gentlemen?
It felt like it was out of the blue when I first saw it.
I think he's the perfect type of person to let a little bit of power go to his head. So he was put in charge, and what was it? 2 days later, he's like, "Now I'm the Emperor."
Yeah, all the medals of all the medals on his chest and the good old communist dictator outfit. Yeah,
and the stool.
Yeah. Kim Jong Philly. Sprout was the personification of what happens when ponies don't have friendship and they have disharmony and mistrust. That was his role in the movie. Was not necessarily to be the main antagonist. His role was to be like, this is what happens when you don't have friendship. You get fear and mistrust, leads to anger, leads to hate, leads to the dark side, blah blah blah. He was embodying that.
You know something though, I'm
goes to the extreme.
I'm surprised his mother didn't play more of a part throughout the movie, because she's the one that facilitated his whole attitude throughout his life.
Weird she enabled him, and then he.
As we saw, she started to recognize what she created.
Yeah, but it's very clear, like, she's like, oh. And then she, like, does nothing about it. She could easily have stopped that at any point in time.
Well, at the point she realized it was way too far. She couldn't have stopped it.
Yeah.
He had the whole town under his hoof, and if she tried to interfere too much, he possibly could have turned on her, and she would have.
I mean, have you
waiting for that to
seen the way he honey, it's time to put the toy away.
Yeah.
Oh my
Also,
god.
she does have a secret
Mom!
weapon, though. She does have a secret weapon. His full name.
Oh yeah, we're that's every mother's ultimate weapon is the middle name.
Yeah. Sprout Tyrant Horse Person. I don't know.
Proud tyrant.
Martin Darabi says, headcanon, social media caused the ponies to segregate. I'm on board with this.
Oh, no.
Yep.
And actually, there's
totally.
evidence. There's
We'll go
evidence
with
to
that.
prove that in the movie. If you look at under Pip's eyes, she's got the bags from like looking at her phone nonstop. Did anyone else notice that?
No, I didn't actually. I was just.
I did not.
Yeah, she's got dark circles under her eyes. Check it out.
I just picture that the whole thing got caused because of Torlight. You know how, Torlight became an alicorn? I was like, oh, maybe Torlight tried to come up with some type of test and it just went south. It went extremely south.
Mm-hmm.
My headcanon is that the society became so peaceful and so great that it caused everyone to become weak. As the phrase goes, good times make weak men make bad times make strong men. And this is exactly what it led to. This is where it was a bad time. Everyone's against each other. And that's why it's making strong characters like Sunny and Izzy.
I like to think that
Twilight led to the downfall of the entire pony society by making everything too utopian.
Yeah.
I think she aged out, and the downfall happened after her time.
Well, when there's too much peace, any minor conflicts get exaggerated to the point where eventually it just grows and grows, and the peace breaks.
I think she lost control of
It gives
Equestria in a poker game.
That's the.
It
That's
gives you
the
it gives you a whole new respect for Celestia, doesn't it? Because it's like, look now, bitch, not that easy to have 1,000 years of peace, is it? So how the hell did Celestia do it?
She sealed all of her
Must be a
problems away for
pretty
someone
good
else to
ruler.
deal with.
She hired an
that got her
intern. That's what she
1,000-year
did.
reign. Yeah,
She hired an
It's true.
intern. That's what she did.
100% accurate.
Celestia is what happens when you put off your problems for too long and you try to ignore them. They just come back worse.
My little interns.
I'm pretty sure that's exactly what most of the supervillains in Friendship is Magic, where it's like, oh, this was a real problem 1,000 years ago, and my sister and I just dealt with it, and we sealed it away, and now it's back stronger. Frick.
Well, I mean, we did see what happened if Twilight didn't interfere. That was Starlight's whole conclusion.
Yeah.
But actually, if you think about it, Starlight actually was the one problem that wasn't sealed away for thousands of years and actually led to alternate universes where it was always hell, if not complete absolute destruction. So, I don't know. Maybe Twilight should have sealed her away.
Okay.
Now you're making people headcanon Starlight's the reason the world fell apart.
Yep, that's a good one.
And she probably died long before that.
Noah Harris says, question for all. What is your favorite song and moment from the G5 movie?
Gonna be my day.
I have to say for song, definitely Danger, just because I like grunge, sue me. But favorite moment, definitely, oh jeez. There are a lot of good character interaction moments, but I'd probably have to say one of the better ones is Hitch and Sunny's first interaction when Sunny's going to be delivering those milkshakes. It's like a way to show how these characters are years later, grown up, but to show how well their relationship is without actually saying, oh, we're good friends or whatnot. Just the very good mannerisms all over there and great dialogue.
Oh, and favorite moment would be the bonfire where Izzy shows that she had Sunny's postcard.
Yeah, that was good.
Oh, that was cute too. Yeah.
I kind of made a prediction on that. Not really a prediction, but I photoshopped Izzy onto like the tangled boat, the boat scene with all the lanterns floating by, and so it's like just like the opening scene or the opening scene, but lanterns.
Okay, so Martin Darabi says Sprout is more of a victim of his environment because of his mother. She used the fear of the Pegasi and the unicorns to sell her products and gain influence.
Yes, I agree with that. That's what I was trying to talk about with the villain thing. He's not so much a bad guy. I mean, he's not a great guy either, but he's not like actively trying to hurt people. He thinks he's doing good. He's just very misguided.
I would also say his mother is a victim too.
Well, Sprout pulled a little bit of an Ultron on us at the end of it, where he's like, okay, Mother, you were all about defense, but now I think we need to go on the offense. I've evolved past your original machinations. And
Yeah.
he was talking about invading the other places. And then when they came up and said, oh no, we don't need to fight. Nobody has magic. Nobody's a danger to each other. He didn't go, oh, well, that changes things. He goes, oh, that just makes it easier for me to conquer them.
Yeah. Yeah, he'd gone criminally insane at that point.
Now, anybody who's been in the fandom for a long time, and who's ever met past analysis, he used to be all about Earth Pony Master Race. He might be right in terms of G5 because the Earth Ponies definitely had the best technology.
So are you headcanon that Sprout is his descendant?
You know what? Yeah, I'll take that. Past analysis is the reason. It's the
They didn't have
reason
the
why
best
there's so much.
technology.
How so?
The Pegasus did you not see like their giant walls of televisions and everything up there?
Yeah, so they were an entertainment culture, not a military industrial complex.
Fair enough.
How was
But
that
they had wacky
comparable?
technology. They had wacky technology, not great technology.
Also, how were they able to arrest their queen?
That was an interesting thing, actually.
I mean,
This is post Magna Carta. The queen is not above the law and can't commit crimes against the citizenry.
DJ, have you ever studied French history? That's how.
Well, she let them eat cake.
Like even in ancient Egypt, where they thought the pharaoh was literally God incarnate, if enough people didn't like the pharaoh, enough people got together and stomped him out. You know.
Well, sure, a revolt could always rise up and overthrow a leader by force. The question is, can you do it legally? And that gets into an Oliver Cromwell situation of when they deposed Charles VI. They were trying to establish, no, we are legally doing this. We're not just a superior force. He's committed crimes. But can a ruler commit crimes against their own populace? This is now a history channel. I have turned your channel into a history.
I love the fact that this says Brony debates, and now we've moved on to French history.
Yeah, I'd also like to talk about the Spanish
English,
Armada.
thank you very much. I said Charles VI and Oliver Cromwell. This is English history.
Oh, whatever. Here, it's all European to me.
I'm sending
But
the
they're
Spanish
very
Armada.
intertwined.
Alrighty then. Yeah, we talk about anything on this show. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
So let's see here. Jonathan Magny says, well, at least Sunnycorn was better than Twilacorn. And then a little while later, someone by the name of Crazy Horror 116 says, what about season 3 when Twilight became an alicorn? We all thought it was the end, but no, there was still more. Well, it kind of, like Larson said, he thought that was going to be the end of the show. And I certainly thought it was as well. But yeah, so what do we think about that?
Well, the Bronies saved the series, as it were.
Well,
they had a lot of bigger viewership than they thought. And they're like, geez,
no, let's.
money.
Jonathan Magny said at least Sunnycorn was better than Twilacorn.
Oh.
Do we agree?
I don't know
In
yet.
the short
Don't know
term,
her.
yes. In the short term, yes. Well, because we talked about the Twilight Corn stuff before. I think in the short term, when Twilight Corn happened, like everyone said, it was a little bit too early and a little bit too rushed, and it seemed like they were jumping the gun. So in the short term, that was like a bad decision that they later made a good decision by revamping the whole show. But that took a lot of work to turn that into something workable, into like 6 more seasons. This, in the short term, I think functions really well. I don't think it was rushed or unexplained or anything like that. I think it was set up in the movie well. And yeah, I think at least in the short term, this is a better handling of an alicorn than season 3 was, but we'll see how they take it from there.
Well, I have to ask you guys, do you think she is an alicorn now?
Yeah.
I
There's
think
a
she
lot
can
of
turn it on and off.
Or translucent.
Yeah, it's going to be like
Yeah, exactly.
a glow up thing.
Yeah,
So
I think it's a
it's
power-up thing. I think she's a magical girl in a magical pony world. It's now a magical girl series.
You're going to
in
get your
ponies.
anime ending, but it's going to be in the beginning.
Yeah. Which, by the way, that's amazing. What if they're like, what if we take the concept of a magical girl series that can power up to solve problems, but we put it in the pony universe? I really hope that's where the show goes. That will give a very unique feel to Gen 5.
Rainbow lasers.
Rainbow Power was going to be.
Well, it does make sense because they got someone. They got if the next one to transform should be Izzy because she's got Moon Bow Prism power.
Oh my god.
Womp womp.
Nice. Martin DeRabby says Pegasi were America, Earth ponies were Russia. What do we think about that?
No?
Mother Russia.
Sorry, say that one more
No.
time.
Pegasi were America. Right, the Pegasopolis,
Yeah.
whatever, the Pegasus city, I forgot the name of it. And Maritime Bay was Russia.
No?
No, Maritime
No.
Bay was Germany. Their technology worked too well, and they were too competent.
And was
If it was Russia, everything would have been broken.
And plus, they're the ones who got a dictator.
Well, then that means the unicorns must have been Japan.
Yeah, no. The unicorns were not Japan. The unicorns were the
Unicorns were
Irish.
elves.
No, the unicorns were the
little
Irish.
elves. Oh, you know what? I'll go with that.
They had
I
a magic
like being Irish.
Paladin Ponytee says, what do you guys think happened to the other magical creatures like griffins, dragons, hippogriffs, diamond dogs, and Abyssinians? He says cat people, but they're called Abyssinians.
They're in their own
They're
place.
just
Their
dead.
own countries.
I thought it was Abyssians.
Look, the ponies have to eat, okay?
I call them Abyssinians at the end of the show.
Mm.
They're all just in their own countries. A lot of them live across the sea. We see that in the comics.
Yeah, the Yaks probably still doing Yaks best in the northern mountains. The Crystal
The Yaks
Empire is the one
survive.
I'm wondering about. The Crystal Empire, like, I mean, that was come on, it was its own big place.
I would have
But,
loved to see Yax go up against that mech at the end of it. It probably would have just taken Yona. Yona
Yeah.
headbutts the thing
Darn
once, and that's the end of
And,
the
Yeah, Yoda could have soloed that.
Yeah, as for the other races, okay, Crystal Ponies, Yaks, the Hippogriffs, well, they just went back to their island. The Obsidians, same thing. Kirans, well, they were already isolationists somewhat, same thing. Changelings, what are you talking about? There were changelings throughout the entire film. You just didn't know which ones they were.
Could have
Plot
been.
twist, they were all
We don't know.
changelings. But
Oh yeah,
they're all on a secret mission, but they don't realize that they're all changelings on secret missions, so they all act like ponies all the time.
Oh, they all forgot they were changelings.
Yeah, that's why the alicorn thing happened. It's not really that; they're just a changeling.
There we go. Write that fic too, Brony.
Oh, you act like I got time to do all this. All right. Yeah, I think that's just about it that I had from the chat. Did any of you guys see something that you wanted to address in the chat?
also because
It's hard-
we were talking about
It's hard to chat and drive.
What were you saying, Neo?
Yeah, they actually saw a map of Acrisia in the first few minutes of the movie. You
Oh,
really
did-
had to be, yeah,
Just
you
pay
really had to,
attention.
you really had to pay attention to the background right before, like in the background, but it's sort of a map of Acrisia. But looking at it now, the Everfree Forest got extremely bigger, and all the other towns are extremely small, and it look like a wasteland now.
Well, actually, the Everfree Forest must have really shifted because there was a big tree in the background in one of those when the characters were traveling between towns. Remember that big tree with the pink leaves and everything?
Mm-hmm.
That was confirmed by one of the showrunners as the Tree of Harmony. So, I mean, that again lays credence to the point that this is thousands of years later because the forests and geography has shifted so much. So,
Yeah.
So it has to have been a long time because tectonic plates have shifted.
Yeah.
So Bridalwood is probably not even it's probably not even the Everfree Forest at all. It's probably just a completely different forest.
Oh, actually, I know what happened to the Crystal Empire. It's Bridalwood.
Oh, there's an idea.
I thought yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Especially when I look at this map, kind of like, okay, so this is that, so that would make sense.
Man,
I can't see the map, but if that's the trees all grew up and shattered the kingdom. That's why the crystals are all over the place.
and the
could be.
global warming hit really hard up there. All right, so
I do have one from the chat, bro.
yeah, go for it.
I think it's honestly the best question asked so far.
Yeah.
Picademos asks, Bing bong, bing bong, bing bong. Thoughts?
Get out of my chat.
Mayonnaise.
Fired.
Huh?
Chris
No,
Kelling asked.
Go for it, Cordero.
Chris Kelling asked, "Who's moving the sun and moon?" And the answer to that is, "Don't worry about it. Not important." The answer is that Celestia and Luna never moved the sun and the moon. That was just a ruse to establish why they had a divine right to rule. Because you can't depose rulers if you literally rely on them for the sun coming up in the morning.
This is.
Well, we saw that Twilight gained control with that watch, so I have a feeling eventually she figured out how to automate it.
Yeah, I thought they made that pretty clear that the sisters with Twilight and Sunburst putting their heads together figured out how to automate that.
Did they do that? I missed
It was shown at the end she was still
Yeah,
using that pocket watch from one of the episodes.
Mm.
No, I think it was all a ruse. I think that Celestia and Luna were like, listen, Twilight is blind to how much she loves us, but one day she's gonna figure it out. Sunburst, Starlight, there's all of these really smart unicorns that have access to too much information. They're going to figure out the scam, so we need to make like this fake meeting where we figure out how to quote automate it. Oh, look at this new idea of automating it, so that they never realized that we never had control of the sun or moon.
Okay, but what about when Twilight?
Hold on. You know what really sold the whole scam though is when they gave her the power to control the sun and the moon, and she did that. Whoops.
Yeah, that's what I was about to
like,
say.
Oh, you do it now.
Yeah, then how was she able to do it?
Yeah, she did it. She was controlling it.
Your theory is falling apart, Cordero. You see, this is how you know you're talking to an old brony when they come up with stupid headcanons like this.
It's all fake. It was all an illusion.
No, Celestia and Luna were standing outside the window with different pictures of night and day and moving it up when she's like,
Correct. They were cutting out pictures of Twilight and posting her wrecking the gym in the school. That's what they did.
All right.
I do see a question that would be good to finish things off.
Yeah, take it.
From Seth Moss, do you guys feel like all the accomplishments in the universe in G4 became all for nothing?
No.
They were accomplishments for in the lives of the people that they affected and the generations that they benefited thereafter. Nothing is permanent.
yeah,
And the
it
universe-
obviously affected the movie.
Nothing is
because of the
permanent,
opening
and the universe moves towards entropy. So
Yeah, hundreds of years of peace and prosperity is not nothing. At this point, the only headcanon I'll accept is that Twilight ruled peacefully, and her reign lasted hundreds of years, not quite as long as Celestia, but definitely continued the legacy for a long time. And that's not nothing or worthless. But eventually, as Brony said, things will wear down and fall apart, and somebody else will have to pick up the mantle to reestablish what once was.
Yeah, I still maintain that she lost her throne in a poker game.
Sure.
This isn't Lando.
along with the Millennium Falcon, too.
In a grand scheme of things, yes. In a character sense, no. Basically what Brony said, like, time is the ultimate destroyer of all things, and eventually all things will fade, but for the bits that we are here, that is what is most important to us and to those we care about. So for Twilight and her friends and family, what they did mattered for them then, and what matters now in G5 is what Sunny, Izzy, and all the rest do for of what they do for themselves and what they do for their friends and family. This is a new generation, a new slate. The slate is essentially clean, and it is up for these characters to solve the problems that will come to them. It may be the same problems of the past, because history rhymes, but how they do it will be in their own unique way. And that is what people will be looking forward to, is to see these characters solve problems in their way.
Mm.
Oh, I was hoping for a shot-for-shot remake of G4.
Shot-for-shot remake.
All right.
Random characters between the lines. Yeah.
I'm going to call it there, guys. Okay, so let's go down the line and give me one thing you learned, and if your some closing thoughts, one thing you learned, and if your opinions on the movie changed at all throughout the course of the discussion. We'll start with Will.
Oh, okay. What were the two things I had to say again?
So,
One thing I learned. And...
yeah, one thing you learned, final thoughts, and perhaps if your opinion on anything about the movie changed throughout the course of this discussion.
Okay, well, I mean, something I learned from the debate, you mean, or something I learned from the movie?
From the debate.
Oh. Well, I can't really think of anything I've really learned during this debate other than other people's perspectives on the movie itself, like what other people thought of how the ending looks from their perspective. And yeah, I can totally agree with the fact that I guess that wraps into the things of changing my mind. Congratulations, you've Steven Crowdered me. You have changed my mind. The ending is not as horrendous as I first thought. Yeah, the characters they didn't actively work towards something. Okay, not. They did eventually reach the end goal through actually coming together through friendship. Not in the way I would have liked, but they did technically, and they did in a way. Just not the way I would have liked, but I do have to give props. It did happen nonetheless.
Yes, technically is the best kind of correct.
And as for overall thoughts, overall thoughts on the movie or overall thoughts on the debate? Sorry.
On either, I guess it doesn't matter.
Oh, debate! You guys are awesome. It's fun doing this. This was entertaining. As for the movie, yeah, as I said, I can't remember if it was in this thing or if it was beforehand. This is definitely a show. If I'm babysitting again, my niece and nephew, this would be one of the movies I'd be like, okay, let's watch something good. Let's see, Count of Monte Cristo. No. Cabin in the Woods. No. Cabin in the Woods. No. My Little Pony: A New Generation. Yes, this will do.
What was that one?
It's never too early.
What was that one musical that went on that a lot of people were fans of for a while? I can't remember the name of it for the life of me, but it was essentially
it was the Count of Monte Cristo musical.
Well, no, it was no. It was the one where they were harvesting organs.
Repo, the overhyped genetic opera.
Yes, yeah. Repo.
That or Sweeney Todd was a better version of that.
Sweeney Todd was amazing. The Repo, the genetic opera or whatever, that was so bad. I don't know why people liked it for
Paris Hilton's in it.
And then forgot about it.
Because Paris Hilton was in it.
Yeah, but watch Repo with your 3-year-old nephew there, Will.
Yeah.
I'm sure
they'll say this sucks. This is trying too hard. Why is the music not good?
No. First off, my niece and nephew. All right, niece is 4, nephew's 3. My sister would gut me. All right.
So don't tell her.
Real Repo.
No. All right. No, not happening. All right. There's a phrase, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. Well, hell hath no fury like my sister finding out what I'm showing to her kids. All right. She got angry when I suggested Harry Potter. All right. Not happening.
Oh, jeez.
Don't forget to tell them about the ghost fish that eat children and live under their bed.
All right. Neo, give us some closing thoughts. Did you learn anything, and did your mind change about the movie at all?
More relaxed about the movie. I love hearing other people's opinions and thoughts about the movie, so that will be fun.
All right. How about you, Invisi?
I learned, like you said, a lot of your opinions on it, just little bits and pieces here and there, things I didn't notice in the movie. I thought I learned, like the map. I didn't notice there was a map in the film. I'm going to go back and check that out. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, talking about the music was good. I was never fully on yes, the movie's 100% good. Anyone who says the opposite is wrong. But this, as with anything, it has problems. And if you looked at the pilot or the first episode of any good TV series, it's usually you go back and you're like, wow, that really did suck. How did we get to 8 seasons? So I see a lot of positive things, I hope, coming from this.
And I know you just said you weren't fully in one camp or the other, But can I read them the message that?
Oh,
you
yes,
sent
I was
me?
going to. And
you-
before you do, though, I would like to also say that when I wrote this, my keyboard had been broken and I was using the on-screen keyboard, so that's partially the reason it's like this.
Okay, so a few days ago when I was like, hey, we're doing the debate, here's the topic in my Discord server, if you know, who wants to come on, and I need someone to balance this out who really liked the movie. Invisi messages me a couple hours later and goes, I am stream good. Much good new horse film. You wrong are. That was what he said. I'm like,
Perfect.
I said, how can I argue with such
Poetry.
poetic articulation? You got the job. And he goes, you actually mean me? I said, yeah. So
Yeah, you should be being serious or what? I thought you had it full, so I wasn't sure.
DJ, what do you think?
Well, it was nice hearing. I hadn't actually heard any of the major complaints about the movie, so I guess that's what I've learned was people's issues with it. Because I think this has just reaffirmed that I really did like the movie, and I'm excited to see more.
Mm-hmm. Now,
It's a lot. You see a lot more of it going back on it, so it's definitely worth another rewatch, I guess.
Cordero had said a couple of days ago that that his rough position is that this is now a G5 fandom, that Brony is now a G5 fandom. So give us some closing thoughts here, Cordero.
Well, first of all, I'm glad that Blue side won the debate. Another win for my side as usual. I mostly sent that to you to make you upset. Because I know you so well, I know exactly what to say to make you upset. But as far as it becoming a G5 fandom, I thought that was like, nah, it's not a thing. Like, it'll always be, because before we all saw the movie at the party, I was like, well, this will always be a G4 fandom, and G5 will just kind of be like a pleasant distraction at best. I now don't think that. I think G5 could take off and launch as its own fandom, and it will probably do so off of the back of G4. So now I'm excited to see what happens and how G4 and G5 may separate, distinguish each other, or how they may integrate. Because it's starting off fully integrated. I'm seeing pony memes and new. First of all, I'm seeing an explosion of pony art and stuff everywhere, and it seems to just be intermixed together. So it seems like G4 is going to live on in the G5 fandom, and I really hope that that's how it goes.
It's been pretty business as usual. Sorry.
Yeah. What do you mean, business as usual? As in,
the fandom's rolling
yet.
like business. No, like the fandom's been rolling along, business as usual. The art's coming out, the memes are happening, just like you said. Yeah, it's like this
bad. Is ours now. So whether you're on the movie was great or bad, the movie itself was great or bad. The fandom as a whole seems to be on the this is fine. Let's roll with this. And again, first Equestria Girls movie opener, season 1 opener to My Little Pony. The first thing we get is not always the greatest thing, but I think of the three first, Equestria Girls first movie, season 1, and this, of the three first we've gotten since Gen 4, this is the best first look we've got, period.
Alrighty then, I think that's a good spot to call it for tonight. Right after I read Pika Demos, he said, unpopular opinion, Brony caused the events that led to the G5 movie.
I saw that.
He's probably
agreed.
And you did blow up Ponyville.
Yeah, I did kind of terrorize all of Equestria in a video I uploaded earlier today.
I just watched that. We just watched that.
Yeah.
That's the prequel to the movie.
Yeah, freaking analyst. So analyst caught because I was just the catalyst, but all the other analysts with their really bad opinions triggered the catalyst. Anyway, so all those out there listening, we had a pretty good turnout tonight, like 30 people watching at one point. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope I've earned your viewership if this is the first time you're tuning in. If you would like to be on the show, I would love to have you. Let's just get you on the Patreon for as little as $1 a month. You get in the Patreon Discord server where you get to pick the topics and pick the games for these live streams, and you can come on if you want. We do this every Friday at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And yeah, so that's just about it. Big shout out to all of my very generous supporters on Patreon, especially those on the $10 and up tier. I was supposed to do this also at the beginning of the live stream, and I forgot because I'm bad at my job, and I'm working on like 3 hours of sleep right now. So those people are Princess Heather Blossom, Shady Oak Ministries, Pony Cordero, who joined us tonight on the show, Sid McConroy, Autoknight, Emerald Spencer, Sodden, Girder, Senko, Kyle Christensen, DJ, who's also on the show with us tonight, Stephen A. Wilson, Rein-Kun, Morningstar, QFlash, Billy Henline, Alden MacManx, and Dark Malcontent, author of the Metaverse series. They all got their own links in the description. Will is also on the Patreon as well. And Will, since this is the first time you've been on the show here, tell us a little bit about yourself. Your link in my credits in the description is to a FimFiction page, if I remember correctly. So you got anything you're working on?
Well, I'm working on on stuff. I was very active years ago. I really have been more so just I'm not very super active in the community. It's more so just I talk with people, commission some things here, make nice debates with like you got other guys here. I've done bits and pieces, bips and bobs, but mostly I'm nobody big. I'm nobody special. I'm just a guy who likes ponies. It's one of the many fandoms I enjoy. Good. Yeah, it's a cool thing. But yeah, if you wanna check out the few stories I have, Brony's got the links down there. They're somewhat well rated, I think. But then again, fan fiction isn't everybody's cup of tea, as it were.
Mm-hmm. Well, Cordero's working on a film fiction too about Sunset Shimmer that's pretty good. And yeah, guys, if you if anybody watched the video that I uploaded earlier today, which I see a few of them did, Neo and Will here both helped me with that video. Neo did helped me a lot with the editing, and the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air song that I did in there wasn't coming out right when I was trying to edit it, and Will took it and put it together and fixed it up and did that little sing-along bit. So I'm very appreciative to him for his help there.
Oh, well, you're most certainly welcome.
Yep.
Editing is always a fun little thing too.
It came out great. So yeah, thanks again for tuning in. Go get some rest and tackle the next week with the best energy that you got, and we'll hopefully see you on the next stream. Say good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.